Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. It's always my pleasure to introduce to you the player, the blue. In the top left of Grezvin, it's the Admiral, GuMiho. His challenger, and I think challenger is the right word on this day. One of the few Protoss in Korea left to stand up to him. It's Creator. A best of 3 PvT for GSL to see who moves on, who moves out. We're going to see. And yes, before I even beg for likes and subscribes, how many, Jimmy? 1,078 for another cast? That wasn't subtle, that wasn't... Don't editorial it. Anyway, I thought that GuMiho, he's had quite a streak lately. He's clearly proven himself as one of the best Terrans in the world, where he was thought of as kind of, you know, middle of the pack, at least until recently. He got to the finals and put on quite a show against Cyril in ESL Summer. And I thought he could use an update. So, instead of the last mech Terran, he seems to have inspired a new generation of mech Terrans. So, with that said, let me reintroduce the Admiral. He loves his Battlecruisers, he loves his mech, but he can still play bio as well. He knows his way around both flavors of Terran. In fact, one of the few players who has at least a little more time than me in existence. He's actually 30, so one of the older players in the game, yet still showing that you can play some of your best StarCraft, your best RTS at this stage. Creator is a few years younger. He's not a spring chicken himself, but GuMiho is a slower player. And by that I mean his APM is only like 300 to 350. He focuses more on why he's doing things than on that wrist-breaking micro. Not that we don't love watching Beyond. He's, oh my god, on tactics and positioning and planning. And that doesn't always get him far enough, but sometimes the mind games and the mind games are enough to get you at least to the finals of some of the most major tournaments. So I'm interested to see. We're in a surprisingly new time for Terran. We're Battlecruisers against Protoss. TY, Special, and GuMiho was one of the only players, I say the last mech Terran, or I said months before, because it felt like, even against Zerg, where it's been most common. Oh my. Did he actually dodge it? No, he lost an Adept, and now he's trying to dodge it. The Widowmine scampers away. But for a time, GuMiho was the only one willing to try it. But it seems as time goes on, he's been proven right. That it isn't just a gimmick, it isn't just to make you feel like you have some variety in life. But instead, it is a legitimate, potentially alternative strategy. Oh my god. Oh, come on. Oh. Look away. The mine landed. In more mines in the main. This is some disgusting Widowmine play. I love what GuMiho's done with it, and I hate it so much at the same time. Creator blinks away. The shield battery not helping much against the mine drop, but it just existing could be helpful in the future. There's a Raven on the way, so let's take stock. With Blink, a defensive Blink, he's forced to keep those Stalkers at home, but it pays off because he's able to keep most of the probes alive from the mine drop. So, GuMiho off to a cheeky start, if I'm using that word correctly, but not a particularly fruitful one, as he loses the medevac, 4 Widow Mines, and a Marine in order to get a grand total of 2 probes and 2 Adepts, which is not exactly the harvest you're looking to reap when you plant those Widow Mines inside the main. War Prism coming towards GuMiho's base. He actually does not have very much. In order to go for the Widow Mine drop, 5 Widow Mines, wait, 4, 5? 4 Widow Mines early. Interference Matrix is on the table here, but you just don't have that much production behind it. You don't have 3 command centers. He kind of rushed this out. He had multiple Reapers as well. So GuMiho is going to be forced into a more defensive posture because he knows the Blink. Any unit that comes out of the base until he gets the triple threat, the stim, the combat shield, +1, It's not going to happen. They're going to be picked off by Blink Stalkers unless he's able to pick off the Prism, which it would be a grievous mistake from Creator. Unless he's able to get the Prism, GuMiho can't move out till he has those things. He just simply cannot. He'll get bled out by the Blink Stalkers across the entire map. And even then, even safely, quote-unquote, inside his own base, he's not safe. I'm not convinced that was worth it, but might as well try it, I guess. By the way, I was so excited that I had to, I had a almost allergic reaction to how smart that GuMiho was here. By the way, these depots, you know, this may be one of those things where you look at it, it's like everything he ever did. It's like when Einstein put on his pants inside out. That was the most genius thing. It's like, no, he just wasn't paying attention that day. But I do want to say the depots at the back are likely to prevent charge lots from easily being able to warp in. Even if the warp prism gets by, the charge lots can't get into the mineral line. And I mean, you've got to build the depots anyways. Building them at the front usually ends up being something of a liability. A storm mildly discourages some of the bio. Let's talk about the here and now as opposed to depot geometry and architecture. At least for now. Interference matrix locks 2 Templar inside the prism. But one comes out. The storm's enough to soften some of this up. Interference matrix on the Immortal refreshed by yet another Raven spell. There are more Immortals on the high ground. Creator's army still looking good. Hasn't used any feedbacks on the Raven. Or Ravens, rather. Which is maybe a bit of a mistake there, as the Raven's the only thing that really caused any trouble. Creator's army just better overall. He's able to clear the field. He got, I believe, 3 siege tanks there. But no matter how strong those tanks are, Immortals and Storm are going to be able to clear out a whole bunch on the ground unless you're able to entrench that position. And 3 siege tanks are just not enough at this stage of the game. Third base, now landing for GuMiho. The worker count 58 to 59, so not a huge disparity here. Mules will probably put GuMiho a little over the top in terms of minerals, but not quite yet. More Chrono Boost across the board. Ghost Academy, Robo Bay. Opposite sides of the tech spectrum there, but filling out the rest of the mid-game army composition. Blink Stalkers working in. Scan, looking for observers. Is there an observer? There is one here, and there's probably one with the... No, wait, no, there is no observer with the army. He has an armory halfway done. So after the Widowmine's fire, they will remain cloaked once that's there. The Raven's still intact here. The Raven's still alive, gaining energy. Creator has not used the feedback. At least to overwhelming effect. I believe maybe he got one of them there, but while those Ravens are in play, it's going to be very difficult for Creator to actually crack GuMiho. He's got a 4th base on the way. By no means is he intent on winning the game outright. Obviously, he backed off here. But no upgrades for Creator. Relying entirely on those spells, and after all this, ends up losing one of the near full energy Ravens. And here comes GuMiho's architecture work. As, Creator, he saw the depots. He tried to fly in over the turret. And that redirect will cost him the Warp Prism. Yes, it's going to be painful. Widowmine's almost killing one of the ghosts. But it will be cleaned up. With 9 SCV losses, GuMiho losing a few more at the 3rd. Actually, didn't lose any there. Widowmine finds some Blink Stalkers in the middle of the map. There's hopefully an observer somewhere to come help deal with this. But GuMiho has +2 infantry weapons on the way. It's almost halfway done. Creator just started his +1. Finally, the Widowmine goes down. But now the observer will be chased. Double Colossus. Creator is very much relying on his unit composition and his splash damage, but it won't be very reliable against well-upgraded bio, especially if the ghosts are able to land some EMPs on the High Templar. Creator's army is brittle. right now. It doesn't have the ability to stand up to probably a even fight. If he's able to take a lopsided one, which oftentimes, well, obviously you never want to take a fair fight if you ever have the opportunity. Okay, we're here to win, not to fight. If Creator thought he could bring 12 probes across the map and somehow micro them to victory, I would not blame him for giving that a shot. I would probably blame a lot of other people who developed the game or decided that was a good balance patch to have, but I don't think we'd be here today if that's not the point. It was a hypothetical, all right? It was potentially a hallucination, but you know what isn't? This army. At the end of the day, 4 Colossi are probably enough. Oh, and he's going massive. Okay. So he's going for the heavy immortal play, where this is more designed to deal with the mass marauders, and it doesn't hurt too much against the Widowmons or anything like that, but the immortals, I hesitate. I'm gonna take a risk on this one. Fusion Core! I suspect it's for advanced ballistics, but it's GuMiho, and that means the Fusion Core could become something more. But for now, I think advanced ballistics for the Liberators. It depends. There's a Stargate on the way as well. I dare to dream, and not even dream at this point, maybe Nightmare. Well, I don't know if Nightmare qualified, or if he's in the group. I think he might be. It's not important. Where were we? But it isn't a meme. It isn't trolling, as the kids say, or maybe the other way around. Also, I don't know. It is actually the legitimate late game strategy. It's taken 13 years for Terrans to come around to the Bronze League heroes' way of thinking. But it does truly feel like Battlecruisers are that late game, assuming we get there, which is not a guarantee, as GuMiho now hitting both sides. It's Terran Creator apart. Down to 170 supply, and it feels like a fight hasn't even happened. SCVs. Well, the Zealots will win that one. The Zealots are able to beat SCVs. GuMiho backs off both sides. He didn't actually kill a Nexus. Creator's probe count is still pretty healthy. GuMiho is buying time for his command centers and his Liberators. He hasn't started advanced ballistics yet, which is a bit of a mistake, especially if you're going mass Liberator. The advanced ballistics are just incredible. Increasing the range of those Liberators, it forces you as Protoss to go for the area to speed back, popping 2 ghosts out of the fray there, not able to cast their EMPs in time. Advanced ballistics begins. Vikings looking for an opportunity. There's still a Raven. Anti-armor missile thrown in. DT spotted and gunned down before it can even get a hit off. Nuclear missile in production. So, here we go. Well, Creator, it's carriers. We're doing carriers. I've been spending so long looking at the Terran side of the production tab. Well, fleet beacon and carriers. Enough carriers can solve a lot of your problems as Protoss. Of course, and he's doing it at the right time, in my opinion. A lot of Protoss players will wait until they're already half dead before going carriers, and carriers are a rich man's unit. The maintenance cost, the interceptors, just keeping the carriers going is incredibly difficult with no economy. The Dark Shrine gunned down. Nuclear missile is launched. I almost said cast, but, either way, the same result. Cleans up. The nuke will land, killing a couple probes. 9 probes in total down in the last minute or so. What? Attack his own pylon? Can never be too sure. 2-2 done for Creator. 3-1 for GuMiho, which is an odd split, but prioritizing those attack upgrades. Nuclear missile. 3 more starports. 3 is a very high number of starports if you're building Liberators. You don't usually need more than a couple reactored starports to really pump out those Liberators. GuMiho. There's one thing he can do besides building the starports to confirm my suspicions. And also besides building the battle... I'm leading up to Battlecruisers here. But What is it? Has he seen? What have your Terran eyes seen? He has seen the carriers. He saw them building. Nuclear missile is ready. He launches it onto the northern base. Liberator is taken out by the carriers. And you got GuMiho. GuMiho's nuked himself before. It has happened. But the finishing blow will be dealt with. I love it. Finishes off the Nexus with style. A nuclear hellfire. Even gets a few probes alongside it. How convenient. There's still 2 near full medevac. There's 20 supply chilling in the back right corner. Did Creator remember? Because it is out of vision. It's going to come back. There is no observer there. And Yamato cannon is being researched. It isn't a fun idea. It isn't a passing fad. It is now a strategy. Indeed. The meta has shifted to Battlecruisers. Pray it doesn't shift any further. The storms might be enough to help wash them away, but 3 Battlecruisers in the production tab. Yamato cannon alongside them, plus 2 ship weapons, plus 1 mech armor is already done. GuMiho's been working at McDonald's for a while. Sure, his build starts out bio-curious, but we know where he wants to be. Now, this is the first time in the last few weeks of these sort of matches that I've seen a Protoss player in a good economy actually going carriers. So, I don't know if carriers are the answer as interceptors. The problem is the Battlecruisers have base armor. Interceptors do multiple attacks, which the more attacks a unit does, the more armor is applied, is how those basics work. The Scouting Immortal, this is actually intentional as Creator is trying to free up some of that supply. Quadra drop heading towards the main. Both players trying to trade out those basic ground units. In this case, Immortals for Creator. GuMiho's just building 5 more ranks. GuMiho's doing all the things I wish Terrans would do. Just, like, on paper, the Twitch chat Terran. He's building 13 barracks. So, in case the Battlecruisers get cleared out of the sky and he needs to make a ground army, say to deal with carriers or something, he's going to have the production level. You can't just only build command centers. Well, I mean you can. Most of the time you get away with it. But occasionally we see players build 20 command centers and then end up having no production and unable to protect any of them when they lose their main. The jump! Where the hell did he go? That's the beauty of tactical jump is, oh my god, he jumped to the top right corner of the map. Okay. It was so far, it barely shows up on the mini-map because it's at the very, I think GuMiho, I don't know, I want to know if GuMiho scrolled or if he just clicked on the mini-map. Either way, he's building, this is, the sheer level of production is... It's very high. It's very high. I could come up... The Immortals are trickling across the map as Creator frees up more supply for carriers. I think Storm could be a missing ingredient. Of course, EMP is still on the table. I'm not... I think he meant to use a hallucination and instead... Oh my god. Once every minute, we will just spawn an Immortal. Maybe that would be a way. Need those warp gates that auto-spawn from Zerg Wars. The Immortal stares angrily. The angriest lobster in... Or more like a crab. The crab... It's really just a Dragoon with a big-ass turret on top of it. And the Planetary does not have the range to shoot back. I'm fully expecting a Battlecruiser to jump into this, but... Wait, has he revealed the He hasn't revealed the cruisers yet, I don't think. Like, we've been sitting here knowing about Battlecruisers, but...
Upgrade complete.
Ooh. Disruptor get... He hasn't seen or killed a Battlecruiser yet. I mean... Now, if you're a Creator, what would you do? You keep sending out hallucinated phoenixes, but they can be killed. They're no orbital scan. Well, if we didn't know before, he certainly knows now. And I'm kind of surprised that GuMiho didn't scan looking for the army, as the carriers show up immediately. They have only +1, as you can see here. The damage isn't that high, but GuMiho's not really paying attention. Fires off the Yamato cannons, jumps away, knocks out a carrier. The swarm, the golden swarm of interceptors. But he desperately needs those air weapons upgrades. He's getting some Tempest. This is possibly the most production facilities I've ever seen in a real game. We have 5 Stargate. Right now, 22 production facilities, if you don't count Nexi. And you know, you probably should. 28 for Creator. Is that enough to deal with GuMiho? There's a dozen barracks. I think he just lost one scouting. He's nuking from inside the main. And those are the cyber cores, which he needs. He needs the... Oh my god, he needs those upgrades so badly. Just build them at the natural. The Protoss tech pustule. This is one of my higher pet peeves. I haven't seen too many offenders lately. You know, I can't blame Creator too much, because how many times is he getting his multiple cyber cores sniped? It can't be a high number. Not really a common event. The disruptors are taken down. The carriers will swarm. The DTs and the ghosts, ignorant of each other, will just hang out in the main base of Creator. The ghost is still there, by the way. GuMiho realizes it's there, uncloaks it. Oh my god. He's still thinking about that ghost. He's got 6 Battlecruisers in production at once. High-sec auto-tracking now. He's got another nuke in the production tab. He's taking Hero Marine strat and he's running with it here. Sprinting, jumping across the entire map. But the carriers have arrived. They don't have the upgrades are so important against the Battlecruisers. Battlecruisers, raping. Are we going into a base trade? All right, here we go. How many Battlecruisers on the field? 10. The number is getting so high. He's adding more Ghost Academies. Both sides were... Wow. Now, if we go to incredibly low economies, the carriers... You don't really want to base trade with carriers against Battlecruisers. Well, here we are. Creator. At some point, he has to recall home. Of course, GuMiho can then... Did he tactical jump in? No. So he still has the ability to jump out. Another cyber core is vulnerable. The Tempest scratching the paint on the cruiser. They scale really hard with weapons upgrades. And in this case, they don't really have those upgrades they need. The fleet beacon goes down. The Battlecruisers just taking what they can get in the main. There's still the Ghost, by the way. 42 SCVs kill. Creator does not want to jump away. Or recall, rather. GuMiho jumps away. A recall could spell disaster. The Ghosts are taken out. More Battlecruisers. He nukes the main just to make things more interesting. With the Ghost that was left over from behind enemy lines. He had no way... Well, he could have probably just walked out at some point with the cloak, but... Is that going to get the pylons? Oh my god, it'll depower the majority of Creator's production. What has happened? We haven't even really seen a fight. Yet it feels like GuMiho's already winning the war. Creator is supply blocked at 157 over... Let me... Wait. What? The numbers don't lie, and they spell... That is a huge supply block. He doesn't have the plus. He does not have those air upgrades he needs. High Templar, a thing of the past. The Battlecruisers. That's not all. The tactical dunk fires the volley. There's still a Raven. Yamato cannon across the board. He tries to get the High Templar out, but what is he gonna do? Storm his own carriers, and the Vikings sweep the field. GuMiho. It's a trap indeed. Let's look at the Creator cam here. Blinking to intercept. All right, it's okay. It's all... Oh, no. Surprise, motherfucker. And the Battlecruisers jump in, and nobody's getting out. He had the Templar in the prism, but the Storms GuMiho even interference matrixed an immortal in there? I think he was just casting out whatever he could get. But wow. Well, GuMiho cruises through game 1. An interesting battle, but it feels like base trading. You can't base trade. Here's the thing. Tactical jump has a shorter cooldown than recall. We saw Classic using the mothership to add another recall into the equation, which allows you to potentially outmaneuver the battlecruiser. But you need the upgrades. You need the upgrades. You can't fight carriers against battlecruisers without the upgrades. Very simply. GuMiho understood that. I'm sure Creator knows that as well. But a tough game 1 and a hard fought was 20-something minutes. But GuMiho just sails away with it. Well, it's becoming a thing. I need to see, at this point, I need to see someone deal with it. I have yet to see, in the last few weeks, and yes, I know sometime in the past, somebody's gone Battlecruisers and it didn't work. But there's a difference between times. Like, there's a difference between a strategy that is picked out of a hat at a time when any strategy would work. Like, if you're ahead by 2 bases and 4 upgrades, you can go Battlecruisers. You can probably go Mass Marine. Whereas, same thing with Protoss. If you're ahead a couple bases, you could probably go Zealots. Stalker Zealot will work just fine if you're able to spend twice as much money. But that match was relatively even. Right up until Creator committed to the base trade. And you need an economy to maintain carriers. Very simply. Like, every interceptor costs 15 minerals. It is not a unit that thrives on its own. In fact, it's a unit that can't do anything on its own. It needs the interceptors, otherwise it's just the most expensive paperweight. So, well, not really even a paperweight because it floats. Just a balloon. And like a balloon, it just kind of hangs out there and doesn't do anything. Draws a lot of battlecruiser fire. I wasn't sure where I was going with that. Well. Anyways. It is begging the question. Is it just that Terrans weren't going battlecruisers? Is there a reason? I need someone to reteach us. I need a Protoss player to reteach us, re-educate everyone as to why we aren't going battlecruisers in the late game. Because otherwise the Bronze League heroes were right. Okay. That battlecruisers are the ultimate late game unit. And so far, it seems like it's just taken a decade for the pros to come around. It's gonna be blank from Creator. Oh, and he Reaper walled. Which, did GuMiho build a Reaper? No. The classic counter to a Reaper wall is building no Reaper at all. And now that wall, it may stand tall, but it doesn't matter because the Cyclones and the Marines don't care at all. Well, I don't know how much of this. Did he scout the Reaper wall in the main? I believe he did. And even if he didn't, it's a very high likelihood. This attack is designed to pick apart the edges of your base. 2 Cyclones. It's also good against a Stargate play, having these 2 Cyclones, by the way. The only thing that it isn't great against, I would say, is... well, probably Robo, actually, which no one does. And also, if the Blink Stalkers were already done, he would really have some trouble with it. But he did not rush Blink. It was a more macro Blink. Well, GuMiho taking good trades. I'm sorry, I wasn't commentating the direct fight here, but I think, well, he's killed a gate. I'm still so wrapped up. This keeps happening with these battlecruiser games. I still get so wrapped up in the last game. We forget we're in this one. All right, take it to the Shield battery overcharge to heal his stalkers. Now, there's some value in doing that when he's not in the middle of a fight. So now GuMiho doesn't know he already used shield battery overcharge, which means he won't very likely commit up the ramp. And he also won't commit up the ramp because he's dead. That's also a very key point here. Cloak Banshee. Now, the Cloak Banshee seems like it may have been a misfire, as Creator already has shield batteries in both bases. So he did his due diligence here. He cuts a little into your economy, both in mining time and in the cost itself, but the Cloak Banshee kind of goes against the grain as to the damage he was able to do early on. So now the Blink Stalker's taking advantage of the space created and doing some damage at the natural. Siege tanks in position to deal with it. Banshee cloaks, two shield batteries, really relying on those batteries as Creator. And so far, doing well enough. Eventually, the Banshee will out DPS the shield battery in a very awkward fight. But it takes quite a bit, and the cloak is running out. There is an observer on the field. Creator is handling it. And GuMiho doesn't... His stim is not particularly quick. The Cloak Banshees feel like he kind of sailed off in the wrong direction. And he's... Once again, remember this happened last game, but this is not Grezvin. This is not a map that takes a journey to get across, but instead, it's merely but an adventure. As Creator's able to get across the map, what, maybe 20 seconds? I don't know the actual number, but it's definitely smaller, all right? Just source, just trust me, bro. I'm a geographer in my spare time. I've played GeoGuessr, that counts somehow. But Creator, really leveraging his map control right now as he gets more and more production, keeping GuMiho pinned. And GuMiho not going to be able to... The scan. Oh, he spots. He spots the chrono boost on the Twilight. And why would you be chrono boosting your Twilight when Blink is already done? Well, that... Pretty soon. Glaive the depths! Okay, no. Alright. We're calling that bluff. Charge lots. So GuMiho gonna try to move out before the charge lot count gets ridiculous. Cloak Banshees actually slipping in the back. Gonna snipe off some of the bruised stalkers. Here comes the recall. But some of the stalkers get left behind. Bit of an awkward recall there. And Creator... a bit misplaced for that fight. But the charge lots come sprinting in. Angrily charging down into the Marauders and the Marines. And right now, GuMiho just doesn't have anything at home to deal with it. And he's coming back. Oh, that's a huge deal. Coming back home. Where right now, Creator is doing economic damage. Creator's army doesn't get better with time. If he can keep GuMiho busy, if he can keep him out of position, he can pick off parts of GuMiho's army. And that is his best case scenario. He does not want GuMiho to build up the siege tanks, the Marine Marauder, and especially the medevacs. So if he can keep the army split, divide, and conquer, that's Creator's best shot of ending this before GuMiho gets a critical mass. And GuMiho has to pick up, evacuate the siege tanks. The orbital's in the sky. And I don't know if it'll be there for long. A bit of repair. Critical mass of Marines on the top of the ramp. Enough to drive back the charge lots for now. The Banshees are still intact. It's just Stalker charge lot. So Creator, it's a bit of a do-or-die situation, assuming he doesn't get much more economic damage, as this army does not age well against the increasingly efficient bio. But it is 60 workers to 38. That third orbital, still vulnerable. Only one medevac to heal these units. The brute force of the charge lots in front of the Stalkers and Immortal is looking good so far. Concussive shells on the way. This was so greedy. I inhaled so much that I literally choked, just like GuMiho, in thinking he could reland that command center. Because there was no way he was going to get there to defend it. What SCV? Big job, huh? well, was not going to be able to repair it enough in time. And losing that third command center just opened up a path for Creator to macro his way out of this. He was reliant on the momentum-based gateway man toss. But now, he has the ability to fall back. All he has to do is live, because now he is the one who ages better in this game. Yes, GuMiho's army is going to get, potentially has a critical mass. The problem is, Creator has so much to fall back on, and GuMiho's starting to run out of minerals in his main. He no longer has that economic potential that he did with a third orbital command. So now Creator has to buy time. He's decided against. He clicked on the Templar archives. He thought about going for Storm to deal with something like, you know, SCVs on their way across the map. Creator taking pot shots on the way by. GuMiho committed. He actually... No, Creator! This keeps happening! Wait, is that intentional? He went the wrong... Well, arguably wrong way? I don't know. I think he actually went the wrong direction. And now GuMiho is tearing his way into the natural. This is his best opportunity to get the damage done. Use the Protoss' wall against them. There's so much damage output right now. Shield battery overcharge doesn't hit anything. The SCV's on stop hold position in order to try to draw or box out some of the army. The force field is questionable at best, and GuMiho has one shot. He's got one opportunity. He's got one more wave of reinforcements coming across the map, and there was a absolute near certainty of victory for Creator if he was able to fight all together. But now he's navigated potentially a narrow path towards defeat. This Terran army, he gave him the exact position, a choke point on his own ramp away from the shield batteries being affected. Creator, it's a disaster. But it's 34 workers to 2. And 34 is not a lot, but 2 is very much less. Even with some mules back at home, GuMiho still incredibly dangerous. The shield battery is depowered. Creator scrambling. Remember, he has 0-0 against 1-1. This is a shadow of last game, but very reminiscent, with Creator relying on a very brittle army to try to whittle down GuMiho, who has a brute force Terran here. One more good fight. Shield battery overcharge from the third, and from the back, the Blink Stalkers. Immortals and Archons, the medevacs out of energy. It looks like GuMiho will be whittled down. And, well, still enough. Creator manages to hold on, but that was incredibly concerning. Creator making some questionable calls about essentially where, like, how do I say, he went the wrong way. You don't want a Terran to be firing from inside your base, out at you, outside your base. This is not a baseless bit of advice. I couldn't bring it all together. But Creator only barely could by the end of that. I am concerned, as Creator, I think one of the more interesting Protoss, but so volatile. That definitely backfires sometimes. And this, well, game 3. It is 1-1. Only one more game is necessary. Where did it go wrong for GuMiho? When he landed that command center again. That certainly didn't help. To start, honestly, just not being prepared. The Banshees. Just little... Honestly, I think these series are way more interesting because there's so much more to go. Like, Cyril versus Maru. Can you really argue with their decisions? I don't think... Like, I think it's beyond reproach. You can maybe point out, like, oh, he mismicroed or something there, but... In this case, GuMiho going Cloaked Banshees after a successful Cyclone Bio push. And then Creator just going the wrong way to fight the army. Losing track of it in the middle there. And then, well... That means game 3 should be, well, it's about a 50-50 of very interesting or incredibly lopsided. So there's not much room for in between at this stage. But what do you think about the Battlecruiser meta in the late game? We didn't get there in that last game, obviously. Creator understanding. He wants to get some damage done early. But I am officially raising my brow when it comes to the Battlecruiser late game. As, Now, it's been used many times against... Oh my god, the probe aggressor! Never mind, not important. Not back to the battle. We're not going to distract ourselves with the Battlecruisers again. It's been 2 games now. As Creator's aggro probe. So it takes 2 adept shots and 1 more damage to kill an SCV or a Marine. Is that right? Is that the right number? Anyways, the probe adds the 1 extra attack to kill it much quicker. Dodges the SCV through. And Creator with his very aggressive early gateway units here. Whatever GuMiho wanted to do is now maybe not stopped, but certainly slowed down by the double adept pressure. Into Stargate. Creator loves shield batteries, okay? He is so diligent about building the shield batteries in his main there, where they won't reduce the mining too much, but he just has it ready. He's been proxy reapered enough. He didn't go for the Reaper wall this time. It is quite annoying to Reaper wall on this map. But yeah, save the theory crafting for an hour-and-a-half long video or something. Does he go for the grenade? He bounces the adept. And then just fights the adept because he's like, you know what? That actually solves the problem too. Why try to avoid the problem when you could kill it? Gets the Hellion. Loses track of the Reaper. Shield battery. Honestly, there was a time when we were building shield batteries in the main because Reapers were the worst. And they still are the worst. We just kind of decided we're dealing with it. It's like scam phone calls. When was the last time you picked up your phone, okay, for a call? You guys have phones, right? I can't remember the last time someone that wasn't my or your mother called me, or I can't remember the last time I picked up. Or maybe, you know, like a short list past that. Anyways, what I'm saying is that is still a problem. Just like Reapers. They are still annoying. They are still killing our probes and our drones, and not as often our SCVs. And we just decided occasionally we'll let them do that because it's too costly to build a shield battery for no reason on the times when they don't. But Creator doesn't believe in that. Creator understands that shutting down any of those early annoyances can pay dividends later on. Thing is, GuMiho is well prepared as he scouted the Stargate, scouted the Phoenixes. I love the placement. Yeah, it's very intentional. There's no way this... He's set up a wall off. He's quarantining potential warpins at the natural here. With the engineering bay and the missile turret. So, already set up for that. The Phoenixes dipping and diving around. The triple threat coming online quite quick here for GuMiho. He's going to have all 3 early bio upgrades ready to go. Is there a Colossus? Is there a Robo-Bay? There's not going to be a Colossus. He's building an Immortal first. Solid baseline, but it does delay the Colossus a bit. Colossus in production now. Creator would love, absolutely love, to snipe that Raven. If he gets that Raven, he just... GuMiho has to turn around, I feel. As the Raven could disable the Colossi anti-armor missile. That Raven is the Swiss Army knife, which could gut Creator right now. So if he can't... If he gets it, it's great. If he doesn't get it, I think it's still workable. But this is a tough attack to deal with if there are multiple interference matrices on the field. GuMiho understanding his vulnerabilities here. Doesn't want to get caught out of position. He knows he can't be losing any of these starport units. What a juke with the Observer. Needs a 10% more speed buff, though, in order to be taken down more, to get away from that. Hallucinated Phoenix drags out a Widow Mine. The real deal finishes it off. Clever moves. Scans, spotting the army. Looking for, oh, anti-armor missile. Doesn't bother with interference. Oh, now he does. Anti-armor missile and interference matrix. Softening it up and disabling some of the key parts. But is that enough? He's stimming. He's chasing down the Marauders are more than enough. The Widow Mine's still zoning out. Creator, he's just giving up the Zealots. One Widow Mine gets away. Cleans up another. Wants to pick it up, but he doesn't want to lose any of those Phoenixes. Oh, they're both towing back and forth here. Creator chasing GuMiho down. Forced to put right back down that siege tank. Marauders being shaved away as Creator keeping that Colossus alive throughout this fight. That Colossus is it's essentially a hero unit here. If that Colossus dies, so do Creator's hopes of being aggressive for, like, the rest of the game. And by the rest of the game, I mean, like, 3 minutes until he dies to bio. Medevacs on the way. The medevac count getting kind of out of control, especially considering the situation. Not even trying for Vikings here. Ceding air control to the Phoenixes. Phoenix Colossus, a tried and true method of burning through Terran. Especially if you can keep them pinned back inside their base. This could all come apart to a medevac drop. But Creator's doing a very good job of essentially corralling GuMiho right now. GuMiho understands exactly what he needs. He needs to keep Creator busy for just a couple seconds to break out. Because right now, Creator doesn't have he hasn't kept him caged. He's just, not again. Not this again. Are we doing this again? Oh no, Creator. Oh, he loses a Colossus. He's fighting into the bunker. GuMiho can't recall. So here we go again. Game 3 in a row where Creator... is this on Creator? Well, they both have mutually agreed through lack of other options to a base trade. So... Creator inside GuMiho's main, gonna try to shut down the production. There are ghosts there already. EMP is potentially on the field. He's not actually... Oh, there are some Widow Mines underneath. No armory, though. Armory will be stopped at 99%. It never completed. GuMiho is killing the bases. Creator's bases cannot fly. Whereas, GuMiho should probably be considering it right now. 52 probes dead. He's in single digits. 5, 4. Where are the rest? He got a few out, I think. 4 probes. He got a base. The command center's GuMiho. Oh my god. Here we go. Now, this is the first full... The command centers are in flight. Creator has 92 army supply. You know? Creator has embraced chaos, and GuMiho is taking a ride with him. Creator fully committed to the bait, didn't even try a recall. Oh my god. I'm getting some crazy deja vu from TY versus Classic. Which, that entire series played out so similar to this one. And here we go, on Babylon, base trading. The Widow Mines, he's rebuilding turrets, because he still has an engineering bay. And proving the Bronze League heroes right yet again. GuMiho has not rebuilt his base, and is being revealed. GuMiho, I guess there are still Phoenixes, so he couldn't have floated the command center to the corner. Creator has a Nexus. Creator has rebuilt his base. Wait, GuMiho's enough for a command? What? He canceled he only has 49 minerals. I guess he could have salvaged a bunker or two. But Okay, well, creator, he saw the command center. GuMiho has expanded to creator's natural. And now creator, for the second time in this series, will attempt to break back into his natural. And with extended thermal lance colossi, he may be able to do it. He barely accomplished it in the previous. I don't know anymore. This is. He can't even really repair those bunkers. He doesn't have enough money. He's trying to tank damage with Marauders. Because Marauders, healing is free. Oh no, those Colossi, you can't repair those at all. Because you're Protoss. Alright, Protoss don't have mechanics. They're all stored away in ships for when the plot device. Creator wins. I'll be honest. Well, Creator just took the game. He took the board. And 3 games in a row, essentially, he tried to flip it off the table. And it looks like it worked. As he managed to get with 28/0 supply, 5 workers to 3. Oh my, wow, that was a lot. Okay, well, creator. The, Professor Chaos. I think we may have a new nickname for him as well. That, of all the series I have ever cast, that was certainly one of them. GuMiho and Creator putting on quite a show for us. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, GSL. Thank you for watching, Jimmy. What are we? 1,078 likes. We cast another series. I'll be honest. I looked for this. I probably would have cast eventually, but I looked for this series. Somebody commented. I don't have a name right now because Jimmy didn't write it down, but they said GuMiho vs. Creator was real weird. And I think that was the only comment. That was a great no spoiler comment. And how right you were. So thank you, anonymous commenter. Not anonymous, I just forgot. Same thing though. For that recommendation. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. See you next time. Stay chill.